Welcome everyone to Meld. AMD had their keynote at CES today, and it was a big one. They announced a new GPU, and we've got more information on 3rd Gen Ryzen, including a benchmark. But first, check out today's sponsor, Massdrop. They're a group buy website with some amazing deals on gaming hardware. It's free to sign up, and they've got new deals all the time. So check that out in the description below. Okay, now let's get to the news. As I said, AMD had their keynote today, and well, it was quite a bit different from what most of the rumors suggested. First up, I'll go over the graphics cards, or well, card, which is the main difference from the rumors. Instead of a full new lineup, AMD announced an addition to their current cards. It's called Radeon 7, and it basically looks like Vega with 3 fans. When it comes to specs, Radeon 7 comes equipped with a whopping 16 gigabytes of high bandwidth memory, and it's based on their new 7nm technology. And though she didn't mention the architecture until the end, where she seems to reference to the future being Navi, it's likely Vega based. It also comes equipped with 60 compute units, but clocked at an impressive 1.8 GHz, and it's quoted at having 25% more performance at the same power, so obviously raw specs don't tell us too much. Luckily, she did give us a reference for its performance with this graph. As you can see, it's slightly faster than an RTX 2080, though I'll say Battlefield is likely well optimized for NVIDIA since it supports NVIDIA's RTX ray tracing. Basically, we'll just have to wait for reviews to find out. Oh, and speaking of, I'm trying to get my hands on a Radeon 7, so make sure to subscribe for that if I can get one. As far as release date and price, AMD gave us both, with it coming February 7th, though with a painful cost of $699. With that said, like with Vega, for a limited time, AMD is offering Resident Evil 2, Devil May Cry 5, and The Division 2 free with purchase. Now, when it comes to that price, I will say it's a tough pill to swallow, even though it's ultimately $100 less than NVIDIA's reference 2080. The reason is just because NVIDIA usually offers their reference at a premium to not compete with their board partners. So really, they're more or less the same price, unless AMD's third-party cards come cheaper. Ultimately, recommendation will mostly depend on performance compared to the 2080. And before many of you say it, I've noticed a lot mentioning that this is aimed at professionals, but she specifically compared it to Vega 64 when discussing professional applications, as well as called it a gaming card.
We really built Radeon 7 for gamers.
And since it comes with games just like Vega 64 did and isn't called, say, Radeon Pro 7, I see no reason to think this is similar to the Vega Frontier Edition card. It may be some kind of mixture of both, but it's definitely not like Vega Frontier Edition because they made it very clear with that card and even went as far as to tell gamers to wait. With that out of the way, the issue is that while up to this point, RTX has been more of a downside for NVIDIA because it drastically raised the price, but since AMD's equivalent is no cheaper and doesn't seem to come with ray tracing, RTX is now simply a potential feature over AMD's cards. With that said, NVIDIA still doesn't support FreeSync, so there's obviously an argument to be had there. And if you absolutely aren't interested in ray tracing, AMD is just as viable, and potentially cheaper. Of course, if NVIDIA does release the recently spotted GTX 1180 with the same FP32 or general gaming performance to their 2080 at a lesser cost just without ray tracing, Radeon 7 may be really hard to buy. Still, there's a chance third-party vendors can offer it at lower prices or its performance is great compared to the 2080, so definitely stay tuned to GamerMeld for that. Oh, and Lisa Su did seem to mention that we're going to be getting more cards this year. Next up is 3rd Gen Ryzen, AMD's 7nm Zen 2 based CPUs. Unfortunately, when it comes to pure specs, we didn't get much. With that said, AMD did give us a taste of what we all wanted to see, its performance. In this part here, AMD pitted their 3rd Gen Ryzen 8-core 16-thread CPU against Intel's newest i9-9900K in Cinebench, and it beat it. No, it wasn't by much, but there's a couple really huge takeaways here. For one, Lisa Su made it very clear that this is nothing but an early prototype, so the clock should get better as they finalize the hardware and software. And that's not it. She specifically stated the core count, but not whether it's Ryzen 7, 5, or what, and I'll very much bet that was intentional. Here's why. At this part, she actually shows off the chip and slightly goes over the design. Well, similar to Zen 2's EPYC, these are designed with their chiplet technology, which basically means the I/O is all on this die here, and Lisa Su stated that this die contains the 8 cores. Basically, if you haven't already noticed, there's a perfect amount of room for one more chiplet, meaning either this is a Ryzen 5 part, or they're in fact going to be releasing a Ryzen 9 stack for 16 core parts. Either way, we are likely looking at 16 cores, and let's just say that's huge. If they're able to get the impressive gains to clock high enough against an i9 onto a 16-core chip, AMD will be in a similar place as when they first released Ryzen 1, with Intel's chips priced significantly higher for less performance. So while that does it for today, what did you think of AMD's keynote? Are you impressed, or were you hoping for more GPU news? Let me know down in the comments below. And thanks to everyone who chatted with me on the Meld Discord server. We had a good time. And as always, have a great day.